Hello, welcome to Papa Nick's Music. I am, as always, your host, Papa Nick Lewis. And this week we're talking about something I've been thinking about quite a bit over the past, a couple, 3 weeks now. On his album, Street Life Serenade, Billy Joel has a song called The Entertainer. If you're a Joel fan, you know the song. It was a mild hit. Fairly sarcastic view of the recording industry. And one of the verses of the song goes, "I'm the entertainer and I've come to do my show. You've heard my latest record. It's been on the radio. It took me years to write it. They were the best years of my life. It was a beautiful song, but it ran too long. If you're going to have a hit, you got to make it fit. So they cut it down to 3:05. Now, a quick side note, because I got to say it, or it's the irritation of it's just going to fester while I try to work my way through the rest of this video. I like The Entertainer, but the lyrics are a bit too sing-songy for my taste. When you find that it's almost impossible to speak a lyric of a song without slipping into the rhythm of the song, not a good sign. But I digress. In this song, Joel is talking about the experience that he had with Piano Man, right? Piano Man was the relatively obvious single off of the album Piano Man. And so it was released, but it was a little bit too long. And so the record company edited it down so that it would be more amenable to radio airplay. Ended up kind of doing the song dirty because I'm cutting out chunks of verses and stuff like that. But this was a common problem back in the day. I don't know if it still is because A, I don't listen to pop music, and B, the nature of how we listen to music has changed, and I don't know that streaming services care whether your song is 3 minutes or 10 minutes long. Yeah. But back in the day, it was an issue. Back in the day, it often happened. I would hear a song on the radio. Ooh, I like that song. I would track down an album, either buy a copy of it or borrow it from a friend if I knew somebody who had it. And I would listen to the song on the album and, oh my God, there's so much more there. There's extra instrumental breaks. There maybe even extra verses, or there's an extended solo at the end or something. There would be something about the song, and I'd think, oh man, it's a shame that they had to cut that in order to make it more, friendly to radio airplay. And so that's what I'm going to talk about this week. I'm going to give you my top 10 songs that were ruined for the radio. As always, Papa Nick's Top 10 series, Papa Nick's Music's Top 10 series, let me get that right, is unofficially sponsored by Schofferhofer Beer. If you like grapefruit beer, ooh, you're going to love Schofferhofer. That's good beer. And as always, I've got to do the subjectivity notice. We firmly believe here at Papa Nick's Music that there's no such thing as objectively good or objectively bad art. There's only art that we like and art that we don't. And as long as we keep that in mind, this is a wonderful conversation. It's entertaining, it's fun, it's informative. It's our chance to see the world from somebody else's perspective, and I would argue that is always a good thing. However, the conversation goes right down the toilet the minute somebody in said conversation insists on being seen as objectively right. So I'm not making objective claims here. Obviously, I'm not, because I don't think they can be made. If you decide to comment in reply to something that I have said, which I always encourage because I always love hearing from you, I would appreciate it if you would avoid using objective framework in your comment as well. Okay? Thank you. So let's get into it. Now, before I get into the top 10 proper, I'm going to do some honorable mentions. These are some notable instances. I mean, if you go online and you look for lists of single edits where the song was butchered or whatever. First off, you find the reference to the Eagles Golden Hacksaw Award, and God, I'm tired of hearing about that. But you'll also find lists, and a lot of these songs appear on those lists. And so I've got some honorable mentions that I feel I have to talk about, even though they don't really belong in my top 10. Honorable mention number 1, or number 3 if I'm counting them down, The first honorable mention I want to talk about, since I opened up with Billy Joel, let's say, okay, Piano Man is a good candidate for this. My Life is a good candidate, and Pressure is a good candidate. My Life, of the three, is the one that frustrates me the most because it is the one that I'm most likely to hear in the current satellite radio and streaming service centric reading habit or listening habits that I have. Reading habits. When I'm listening to music that is not, something that I've picked off of my CD shelf or something that I'm playing off of my vinyl that's on the bottom of that shelf behind me. If I am, putting myself at somebody else's mercy when it comes to song selection, 95% of the time I am listening to Sirius XM. And I listen to Sirius XM when I'm working around the house. I listen to Sirius XM in the car. And My Life crops up a lot on Sirius XM. Usually the stations that I listen to play the album versions of songs, so I don't run into it very often. But very often when they play My Life, they play that single edit. And it bugs me because I'm always expecting there to be an extra bit of, instrumentation before we get into the verse or something like that. And it's not there, and it's a jarring experience. But it's not like it takes all the joy out of the song for me. So my first honorable mention that I feel I need to talk about is Billy Joel, who must at some point have thought he had a target on his back. My second honorable mention that I feel I need to talk about is a song that has had absolutely no impact on me because I don't listen to a radio station that would play it. And so I don't hear it. And that is the single version of Roundabout by Yes. I love Yes. I love Roundabout by Yes. I love Fragile. Fragile is one of my all-time favorite albums. I've never been able to get a whole lot of traction with the rest of Yes's catalog, but I love Fragile, and I love Roundabout. I have heard the single version of Roundabout before, and it's disconcerting, but it's easy for me to avoid, so it doesn't belong in my top 10. My last honorable mention that I want to talk about, I really wanted to try to find a way to shoehorn it into my top 10. And I couldn't make it work because the crimes that were done to these other 10 songs were just a little bit more serious. But that is a tie. And it goes to Paul McCartney for the hatchet job that was done on With a Little Luck and the slightly more surgical but still frustrating editing job that was done on Venus and Mars /Rock Show. With a Little Luck frustrates me more because I'm always a little bit more excited when I hear With a Little Luck play on a radio because it's not one of the songs that gets played a lot. And when I find out it's that single edit, so it doesn't have the nice instrumental bit at the end that I really like, I'm always disappointed. And the same with Venus and Mars /Rock Show. I can tell pretty quickly whether it's the single version or whether they're playing the album tracks. And when it's the single version, I'm always disappointed. But at the same time, I'm not going to turn the station, right? I'm not going to change the station. It's not ruining my life or anything like that. So, honorable mention goes to Paul McCartney for Venus and Mars Rock Show and With a Little Luck. Now, let's get into the top 10 proper. My criteria, that was hard to say for reasons I don't understand. My criteria for making these choices is I like the song when I first heard it, or maybe I didn't like the song when I first heard it, but I first heard that single edit. And then once I heard the album version, I realized that single edit was crap. I only like the album version, right? So I'm not saying that these are all, super great songs or anything like that. These are not like my 10 favorite songs. No, but these are songs where I think the album version is obviously miles above, superior to the single edit. So much better than the single edit, it's not even funny. Okay? So much so that if the single edit comes on the radio, I will change the station. Coming in at number 10, we've got Elvin Bishop's Fooled Around and Fell in Love. And I first have to admit right up front how embarrassing it is that I didn't realize until relatively recently that Mickey Thomas is singing Fooled Around and Fell in Love. The same Mickey Thomas who sang Jane and Find Your Way Home for Jefferson Starship, even though it is a distinctly recognizable voice. I never connected those dots. Oh man, makes you feel stupid when you find out stuff like that. Now, I went through the little thing at the beginning before, when I talked about my criteria, in large part because of songs like Fooled Around and Fell in Love. I was never a big fan of Fooled Around and Fell in Love. It's when it was out originally as a single. I thought it was a bit of fluff, not much to it, a thin excuse to listen to Elvin Bishop play his guitar for a while, right? Not a song that I'm gonna come back and listen to very often or anything like that. And then here, fairly recently, I heard the actual album version that, first off, has a second verse that actually builds on the theme of the song, and that has a much more coherent guitar solo because it hasn't been edited quite so roughly. And now I'm not going to say that the album version is one of my favorite songs, but I like the album version. The single version was just largely pointless exercise, but the album version is actually pretty good. The album runtime of the album version of the song is 4 minutes and 35 seconds. The single runtime is 2 minutes and 55 seconds. So they cut 1 minute and 40 seconds out of this thing, and those are valuable seconds that they have cut. So number 10 on my list, Fooled Around and Fell in Love by Elvin Bishop. Number 9 on my list is a song by Styx. Now, when I was in high school, Styx was a very popular band among my friends. I was never a huge Styx fan myself, although I like much of their work. I don't like it so much that I'm going to go out and listen to all of their albums. At some point, I've had copies of The Grand Illusion and Pieces of Eight, and a couple others that, I'm blanking on titles right now because it's not that important to me to go back and refresh my memory. So I have listened to some of their albums. But they did have a lot of songs that I liked. And one of the singles that they had that I liked was Come Sail Away. And Come Sail Away, that was a nice song. And then I heard the album version, which is so much better. It's so much more full. It is so much more musical, for lack of a better word. Having the extra verse in the opening bit is it just gives a nice sense of balance to the song. It makes it seem a little less, schizophrenic, turning on a dime, when it shifts from that opening soft ballady bit to the more rocky bit. I really like the album version of Come Sail Away. I don't much care for the single edit now that I know the album version exists. They cut 2 minutes and 57 seconds off of this thing, and those are almost 3 minutes that I want back. At number 8, we've got a song that ties on my top 10, out of my top 10, this song ties for the most that was cut out when it was edited for a single. When this song was, when it appeared on the original album, it was 6 minutes 53 seconds long. The single version is 3 minutes 33 seconds long. By the way, I'm getting all of my timing information from Wikipedia, so take it with a grain of salt. That means they cut 3 minutes and 20 seconds out of it. I've got another song coming up here a little bit further down on the list that also had 3 minutes 20 seconds cut out. That's a huge, that's almost half of this song was cut out. When I first heard Green Eyed Lady by Sugarloaf, I really liked that song. And to this day, it's one of my favorite songs. For reasons I'm not quite sure of, it always reminds me of Halloween. If there's nothing at all Halloweeny about the song, Halloweeny, at least if we're looking at the lyrics. But there's something about the music of it that puts me in a very Halloween frame of mind. And Halloween is my favorite holiday of the year. So yeah, this song it looms large in my mythology, right? And I liked the single version until the day I heard that album version. And realized how important that missing 3 minutes and 20 seconds was. I think on the album version, the bits that were cut out, the instrumental bits that were cut out, weren't just, I can see the logic for it from the perspective of whoever is doing the edit. They play this instrumental bit for 16 bars, but the first 8 bars have the bit, and then the second 8 bars are repeating the bit and building on it. Okay, so we can get rid of that second 8 bars because it's the same. I can see that logic, but I think keeping it intact makes the song much more symmetrical, much more balanced to me, to my ear. The album version of the song, and I giggle at myself because I've got an extended note in my spreadsheet about how frustrating it was coming up with what I was going to say about this, coming up with deciding which timing I was going to use because there's so goddamn many single edits of this song. Oh, it's really frustrating. How many people have taken a hatchet to Green Eyed Lady at some point along the way? But that original album version of the song, 6 minutes and 53 seconds of pure Halloween joy for me. So, number 8, Sugarloaf's Green Eyed Lady. Okay. This one's going to be complicated. Number 7 on my list is Amy by Pure Prairie League. Now, I understand the original album version appeared on Bustin' Out. Let me double check that. I just looked it up and I already forgot it. Yeah, Bustin' Out. Man, attention span of a hummingbird. The original version on Busted Out is really 2 songs that are thematically linked. There's Falling In and Out of Love and Amy. And then there is a discernible separation between the 2. So I understand not including Falling In and Out of Love. I think it's a mistake. I think it belongs together because having Fallen In and Out of Love at the beginning makes sense of the Falling In and Out of Love reprise at the end of Amy. So the 2 things belong together. But I understand not including Falling In and Out of Love. But if we just look at the single, it frustrates me when I'm listening to the song because the only time that I'm really aware that this is the single edit is when the thing fades out and in the instrumental bit. And we don't get the last verse. We don't get the Falling In and Out of Love reprise at the end. And it's just like, God damn it. Why are you doing this to me? The original track was 4 minutes and 18 seconds long. And then the radio edit the single edit is 2 minutes and 37 seconds long. That's 1 minute and 41 seconds that they cut out. And it butchers the song. Now, like I said, I understand not putting Falling In and Out of Love on there, but I would want it there. And if we put it there, then that's 6 minutes and 30 seconds total running time. And this now becomes the song that had the most nonsense cut out of it. Frustrates me. See, now we're getting to the ones that are pissing me off. But Amy by Pure Prairie League is my number 7. My number 6. Okay, now we're to the point where if I know in advance that this is the single edit, I am not listening to this thing because from here on out, it's making me see red. Okay. Number 6, we got Manfred Mann's Earth Band's cover of the Bruce Springsteen song "Blinded by the Light." Now, this is one of those where my initial familiarity with the song was the radio edit. 3 minutes, 48 seconds. Nice, healthy length of a song. And I thought it was a good song. Not a great one, but a good one. I enjoyed listening to it. Would never have thought of tracking down and getting a copy of The Roaring Silence, the album upon which it featured. But then one day I was listening to an FM radio station. This is back in my college years. And I heard the whole thing. I heard the full 7-minute, 8-second version of this thing. This is the other song that had 3 minutes and 20 seconds cut out. And it's like, okay, I understand trying to tighten up the ending, because that goes on for a bit. So, okay, I understand that. But cutting out that bridge in the middle, cutting out, Mama always told me not to look into the eyes of the sun, but Mama, that's where the fun is. Oh my God, that's the best part of the song. That right there, that contradiction between what I know I should get and what I want. That makes the song worth listening to. We take that out, and it is, as I always thought it was, the result of rhyming dictionary induced diarrhea. I mean, the song itself is not that great. Springsteen's original version of the song is, I think, laughably goofy. What separates Manfred Mann's version is the orchestration of it, the arrangement of it, and that bridge. Oh man, I love that bridge. So, number 6 on my list, Blinded by the Light by Manfred Mann's Earth Band. Number 5 on my list, nice and quick. The song is I'm Not in Love. The group is 10cc. The original album version is 6 minutes and 8 seconds long. The single was cut down to 3 minutes and 42 seconds, so a loss of almost 2.5 minutes. And as gorgeous as this song is, cutting anything out is criminal. Again, I understand trying to tighten it up, but this is something that should not be tightened. This is a crime, what has been done to I'm Not in Love. So if you're listening, if you only know I'm Not in Love because of the, almost 3 minute and 42, almost 3 minute and 42, Jesus Christ. If you only know the song as the 3 minute and 42 single version, oh my God, track down an album and listen to the whole damn thing. You have missed out. I'm Not in Love by 10cc is my number 5. My number 4. Okay. That's good beer. Now, here's the thing about my number 4. This is one that hits close to home for me in particular. When you look, like I was saying earlier, if you look up, single edit, golden hacksaw on, search that in Google, and you'll find the list of all of the songs that have been, horribly edited for single release. And my number 4 song often appears on that list, but it usually appears pretty high. If we're doing a top 10, it's normally going to be like at 10, maybe at 9. It's one that people notice the single edit, but I don't know that there are a whole lot of people who are offended by it. I am offended by it, but I'm offended by it because I love the band. I am a huge fan of the Knack. I'm the only YouTube music discussion channel out there doing Knack videos. I've done a couple of them now, and nobody watches those damn things, and nobody's gonna watch them because nobody gives a shit about the Knack except me, and I understand that. I'm okay with that. It's your loss if you're not listening to the Knack. But My Sharona, oh my God, that guitar solo by Bert Navarre is glorious. It is the thing that makes My Sharona worth listening to. Okay, we've got the riff. Okay, and that's kind of fun, and that gets you all happy and poppy and toe tappy and gets you out on the dance floor. Ooh, and I love it. But it's that solo that takes this relatively moronically simple pop song and makes it now something worth listening to. And when you cut the bulk of that solo out to get this from a 4-minute 52-second down to a 3-minute 58-second, oh, that is frustrating. So when I'm listening to this and it comes on, I'm always clinching and I'm hoping we get, oh, God damn it, and there when it cuts right to the end. If it doesn't cut right to the end, oh, I'm so happy, and I'm now doing a little dance behind the steering wheel in my car. Ah, My Sharona by the Knack, my number 4 song that was ruined for the radio. Now, number 3. Number 3 is as high as it is on the list because this is, to the best of my knowledge, the first time that I became aware of how stark the difference can be between the song that you hear on the radio and the song that appeared on the album. When the song Night Moves by Bob Seger was first released, I listened to it. It would play on the radio, and I'd listen to it, and it was okay. Not a great song, not a bad song. It seemed kind of, light, a little too fluffy, and Bob Seger's something of an acquired taste anyway that I never quite acquired. I've got nothing against Bob Seger, but I'm never going to spend a whole lot of time listening to Bob Seger, right? But it was mostly just kind of a throwaway. Yeah, when I was in high school, I used to look for opportunities to get horny with my girlfriend, and it's like, yeah, okay. And then several years later, I heard the full song. I woke last night to the sound of thunder. How far off, I sat and wondered. Started humming a song from 1962. Ain't it funny how the night moves when you just don't seem to have as much to lose? Strange how the night moves with autumn closing in. It's like, oh my God, there is depth and meaning to this. This is not, I used to, look for excuses to get alone with my girlfriend so that we can. This is not a song about young love. This is a song about the heartbreakingly sad recollection of what my youth was like now that I don't have it anymore. Oh my God, that is fantastic. That's poetry, baby. There are not very many Bob Seger songs where I'm going to say that's poetry, but Night Moves, oh man, that song was just gutted when they took that 2+ minutes out of the runtime of that thing. Jeez Louise. Number 3, Bob Seger's Night Moves. God. At number 2, we have Year of the Cat by Al Stewart. I'm a big fan of Year of the Cat, both the song and the album. If you have never listened to Year of the Cat, do yourself a favor. Give that thing a listen. Fantastic album. Produced by Alan Parsons. The drummer is, what's the guy's name? Stuart, I always forget his name. Stuart Elliott, was drummer on the band, who was one of the drummers for the Alan Parsons Project. Yeah. Who cares? I don't know. But I love Year of the Cat. When I grew up, and it was when I was young, I should say, and it was on the radio, I became familiar with the radio version, the single edit. And then I heard the album edit and realized, oh, we need it. We need that bridge, right? I'm never going to understand why they cut bridges in songs. Now, the most obvious edit that they make right up front is in the original album version, the piano intro plays 2 times. Peter Wood plays that whole thing 2 times. On the single edit, the second run through is taken out. And so you can tell right off the bat if you're listening to it, whether it's the single edit or the album version. And if it is the single edit, bam, I change to another station because it's just going to frustrate the hell out of me when we lose the she comes in incense and patchouli and you take her to find what's waiting inside the ear of the cat. We need that bridge. And we don't get that bridge. And that frustrates the hell out of me. Number 2, Year of the Cat by Al Stewart. And I'm laughing because of the number of takes it has taken me to get through that. Jesus. But number 1. Oh my God, number 1. Oh. That's good beer. For many, many years, all I knew about the only version of She's Gone by Daryl Hall and John Oates I had ever heard was the single edit. It's 3 minutes and 24 seconds, and it was just a damn near perfect little pop song, I thought. And then, as it has happened 9 other times on this list, I heard the album version, and I realized how much better the song was. Not just, oh, it's got more room to breathe in the instrumental sections, though obviously that's true, but it's got a little bit more lyrical depth to it. The good thing here is that if the song has just started, right? If it's just, I'm driving down the road and, oh, the next song comes up and you recognize it because of that boom, 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 right? It's got that recognizable beginning, and I know that that's it. So I'll just listen to that beginning for a bit, and I'll just keep track of at what point we start hearing the vocal. Boy, that sounded bad. But anyway, what point we hear that kick in. Because if that kicks in early, this is the single edit. And that means as soon as it kicks in too early, bam, off to another station. Because I want to hear that full introduction. I want to build that sense of atmosphere. I want... My daddy tried to bore me with a sermon. Okay? I want the missing... they cut the last half of the first... What? Quartet? Is that what they call it? Quatrain? 4 lines at the beginning. Okay, so they cut 2 of those 4 lines, and then they cut 2 of the lines at the next one and jammed it together, and it's... No, I want to hear the full. I want to hear the real. I want to hear the solo instrumental breaks before that last verse. I want the beauty and the wonderful atmosphere that is that album track. Most of these I need to be careful. They're single edits. They're not radio edits. There is a difference. I'm aware of that. Most of these single edits are bad. They frustrate me. They irritate me. But this is the one that is... The single is unlistenable to me. As soon as I recognize that it's the single edit, it's like, oh my God, this... Quite some time ago, I did a video in which I ranked the... before I started my deep dive into the catalog of Hall & Oates, I started with a ranking of their top 20 charting singles, or maybe their top 10 charting singles. Off the top of my head, I don't remember which it was, but I had to narrow it down because they had a shitload of singles, and so I needed to get it down to a manageable list. I think it was top 10. And I left She's Gone off the list. And I left She's Gone off the list mostly because I was paying attention to the chart ranking that it had when it was first released as a single. It didn't crack the top 10 until it was released the second time. But even if I had seen that, I still wouldn't have included it on the top 10 ranking. I would have mentioned it and I would have explained why it wasn't there. And that's because that single edit is an abomination in the eyes of the Lord. It does not belong on the airwaves. It is a piece of Crap with a capital K. The album version is what we need to be listening to. It's only 2 minutes roughly longer. It's worth the 2 minutes. Ugh, these single edits bug the hell out of me. But that's what I've been thinking about this week. What do you think? Do you agree with my choices? Are there even worse crimes against humanity out there? Drop that comment down below. I always love hearing from you. If you enjoyed today's video, I'd appreciate it if you'd click the like button while you're down there clicking. If you have not already done so, I would appreciate it if you would click the subscribe button. It costs you nothing, but it means the world to me, so I very much appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. And I hope that the rest of your day is pleasing. See you soon.